So welcome back, and part two of the winter build. So yeah, the engine's in, as you can see, looking all nice and shiny, so that's cool. Put the sprocket back on because we run slightly wider sprockets on the Grasstrack than we do the Supermoto, so 428 rather than a 420. And that's been it so far. So next job on the list is to get the carb fitted, which is over here. So we've got the again another nibby carb, got a Bucky manifold here from Parker Racing. So yeah, we'll get that stripped and cleaned, as it's still got a little bit of fuel residue in it, and then we'll get that fitted on the bike. Gear lever, need to make up a thicker footrest there. As you can see, it's slightly bent, but it was only an old bit of checker plate for the season, so that sort of lasted fairly well. Get the chain back on, and then we'll do the electrics. So we'll start cracking on now. The carb's back on now, and the Bucky manifold fits well. As you can see, you've got a few different positions there depending on what bike you're running on, but that fits well in between the frame rails, sorry, engine plates, and you know, plenty of clearance there as well. And just put a little bracket on there just to hold that overflow pipe, because the old one used to be quite short, so if the carb did float ball gets stuck, the fuel used to sort of drip onto here, which obviously isn't ideal when the engine's hot, and obviously we don't want any fires particularly. So that's that. Chuck the gear shifter on, and the chains back on the bike, so that's that all done. And next little job to do is to find a home for all of this, so the CDI coil, etc. So I've got to try and tuck that down there, probably make some bracketry and get that coil mounted in there somewhere. And we've got a nice posh red HT lead on it, so that's cool. And obviously got to hook in this kill switch and earth as well, so that's the next job, to try and tidy it all up and get it sort of sitting nicely in there, out the way of the air filter and out the way from all the sort of wet, etc. So that's the next plan of action. Next job on the to-do list is to give this homemade exhaust a clean up. See, we've got a bit of rust there and a bit of mud there, etc. So we'll hit it with Scotch Brite pad and some WD-40 and get it all looking spangly again. That's the exhaust all cleaned up. You know, it's a bit of a obviously crap pipe, but anyway, it does the job. So I cleaned it up as best I could. Obviously on some of the welds here, they're not perfect, but it looks a darn sight better than it did. So at some point I might get a Track Plus proper silencer for it, obviously if budget allows. But yeah, that looks definitely a bit better to put back on the bike. So the next job is to make a bracket for the coil. So we're going to sit that down here, just tucked up there nicely out the way. Obviously we need to leave access for the air filter to go on as well. So we are going to get the old cardboard out and get doing some cardboard aided design. So I've sort of done this rough mock-up so far, so we're just going to mark some holes on it and then make it up some aluminium. So we've got the basic design done. So we've got a hole there and a hole there, and that's just going to be a 90-degree bracket like that. So we'll quite simply lay that down on the piece of aluminium like so, draw around it, cut it out, and then pop the holes in it, and then bend this piece up in a vise. So we'll get on with that now. So that's the basic shape cut out. As you can see, I've centre punched the holes. So now I'm just going to lay that back over, and then get a knife and then just score the bend line down it, and then we'll pop some holes in it next. So the bracket's made up, as you can see, bent it over in the vise, and used the trusty step drill to cut the holes out. So now we've got some hardware. We'll go and get it fitted up on the bike, and I'll show you it bolted up. So there's the bracket all finished, as you can see in there. So yeah, just put a pretty washer on it so it doesn't look too bad from afar. But yeah, just, you know, quite like making little brackets. They're quite pleasing for little things to do. But there you go. So that's it all bolted up. Got the earths on there. So yeah, we're all good to go. So just cable tied some of that out of the way, and then next job is to mount the CDI up back in here somewhere. So we'll get that done next. So I've decided to mount the CDI unit just down in here. I've got the bolt there in position already. I've had to Dremel a little bit out of the CDI, as you can see, and just to stop the vibration, I'm just going to mount it up with one of these little rubber washers. Just happen to have one of these in the spares box, so we'll get that basically bolted in there and then get all this wiring tidied up. The electrics are all done and tidied away, so a few cable ties down there and got that all nice and neat. So we'll pop the air filter back on, and then I'll show you a little other mod I'm going to do on that as well. So with the Chinese electrics, they're not the best, especially when it's wet. So I've got some blue tack here, which was heated up with an air gun, so it's nice and soft. And then we're just going to mould that over there to protect the connections on the plug. It does look like it's got a waterproof type plug on it, but again, just for belt and braces approach, we're going to do this. So there's the blue tack fitted over the plug of the CDI unit. Air filter's back on. Need to put a bit of longer lock wire on here, so that will reach into there. I need to drill a little hole in this as well. These do normally stay on, but again, just to be on the safe side, I have seen a couple rattle loose before, so we'll just extend that slightly from the previous engine. And just need to put a strap on the exhaust underneath, so I'll get that done. And then it's just a case of me waiting for my fiberglass stuff to be ready for collection, really. So Mark Woods has kindly finished it off. He's just got to trim it all out and flow coat the insides of it, and then we'll sort of start the transformation with getting all the new fiberglass stuff on, and then we'll go to graphics, seats, all that good stuff. But it's pretty much wood ride now, to be fair. So yeah, it's about as much as I can get done on it, but I'll give you a quick overview once I've finished up these last little jobs. So there's the thread locking of the oil filler cap sorted. So they do rattle out sometimes, so good precaution there from my sort of road racing days, really. Thread lock and Loctite and lock wire everything you can, really. And then yeah, just fitted up the exhaust strap, which you can't really see very well, but it's just here. So yeah, you have to have at least one exhaust strap on the bike, as well as having the silencer tethered as well. So that's a bit of old mountain bike cable there that I use with a little collet in there, you can see, and then a bit of plastic tubing over the top to stop it scratching everything. So yeah, that's all the exhaust done. Electric stand, carbon, as you can see. So next up on the bench, just going to make up another footrest bracket for the left hand footrest there. So this one was made out of my old bit of checker plate, but as you can see, it's a bit bendy, so I just bent it over my fingers. So yeah, that was a bit weak, that one, so we've got some thicker material here. Then we'll make a new one up in a minute. That's the first rough cut done, as you can see. So we're going to put the sander on the grinder and then grind the edges and make it all look smart. And then we'll get out the trusty step drill and whack some holes in it. So that's the cut all out. I've folded it all as well. So yeah, so no more sharp edges on there. So yeah, next up we'll whack some holes in it and then give it a finish with some Scotch-Brite and WD. So I'll show you that in a moment. So that's all the holes drilled and countersunk, as you can see, just to get all the flashing off. So now we'll just get some Scotch-Brite pad and a bit of WD-40. That just lubricates it and just gives it a nice brushed finish. If you just use these dry, it sort of gives it a polished finish, if that's the kind of look you want to go for. But I'll show you what it comes up like a minute. But it's come up, you know, this isn't too bad. It's got a few nicks here and there, but it'll do. It was free, so there we go. Right, so that's it all finished up now. So I'll just get this foot peg fitted up. I'll re-thread lock this bolt. Obviously don't want those coming loose. Then we'll get it popped back onto the plates and onto the side of the engine. Ta-da! There it is, all done, back together. So this is a lot more rigid than the old bit of checker plate I had on there now, so that's all good. So yeah, new bolt there. So I had a nasty standard bolt there, so replace it with the hex head again, all thread locked, because that goes into the engine, and that's been thread locked as well. I've put that at a slight angle there, so if and when I do crash, it bends up there instead of obviously bending up straight upright and potentially ripping that off. Nylock there, that's all good. So yeah, we're about done now. So I might fire it up tomorrow, but overall it's just waiting for its new fiberglass kit now. So that's part 2 concluded. Hope you've enjoyed my ramblings, and it's past, you know, boring rainy Monday, and I'll catch you again soon, guys, for part 3, when my lovely Edge Composites fiberglass kit arrives, and then we can start making subframes and trimming bits and doing all that fun stuff. So that will all be being replaced, and we'll fabricate something there and get the sort of pointy rear end in it. I might make a seat for it and all sorts, so that should be quite fun. So anyway, there you go guys, that's how the bike's sitting at the minute. I'll catch you soon. Cheers.